Appreciate it.
Yep. Live stream. It's great. All right, so we should be live streaming.
Okay.
I usually have 2 meetings on.
Oh, it's, I hear Lori. Here comes Lori. Hey, Lori.
Yeah.
Come
Long
on.
lost Lori. It's so busy.
You've been cooking up a storm right here.
Yeah,
How are you?
Oh, I didn't just.
I'm wonderful. Tired but wonderful. Yeah. They are trying to get me to do it every Wednesday. What are you cooking again? Well, soul food. No, but where? People's Place. It is People's Place. But I told them every culture has soul food, so don't think you're only getting Southern food. Right, exactly. Because every culture has a soul. You got that right. So I'm going Hawaiian next week.
So you make a hot meal at Tiffany's place
Yeah.
every day?
No. Wednesdays, right? Was I supposed to be here at 4?
No, you are on time.
4:30.
You are perfectly on time.
No, 4:15 is when the meeting starts.
4:15, yeah. You
So,
are perfect.
so every Wednesday you serve a hot meal at Tiffany's?
No,
Okay,
the last Wednesday of the month.
last Wednesday of the month, okay.
Yes.
Um,
The cook had quit
uh-oh.
about 2 months ago.
Oh,
And so I volunteered to cook on Mondays. So
To cook, so do they serve a hot meal every day?
breakfast and lunch. They
Breakfast
serve breakfast and lunch every day,
every day, but you just cover Fridays,
Mondays.
Mondays.
But we've hired a new kitchen manager / chef. So.
So what's the last Wednesday of the month?
From saying we can't start.
Go ahead.
In the
English, you're gonna take
evening.
care of it. That's fine. We got it.
I know, but we can't start anyway because we don't have a quorum.
We can
So you
start
cook on
that.
Mondays?
That's all,
Oh,
that's
okay.
all. But go to what you need to do.
You cook there on Mondays?
Yes,
So breakfast and lunch?
yes.
What happens on the last Wednesday of every month then? Is that's
It's,
a dinner?
they call it soul food.
Oh, okay.
This is an example.
So we provide, case management services for folks, so that'd be good to bring it back to them, let them know that whether or not they know that, because sometimes when we work with homeless folks, we work with people on very low income, and it would be good for them to know that this is available
Monday through Friday,
Monday through Friday, breakfast and lunch.
breakfast and lunch,
That's great.
free of charge.
It's a wonderful,
Donations are accepted, but
Sure.
it's free. And the last, how this was created, I was asked to cook for Black History. And I did soul food every Wednesday night for the whole month.
okay.
So we can get started.
Good.
And then people kept contacting the director and asked why can't I do it every Wednesday? I said,
Okay.
I have a wife. So we're not gonna have it's coming.
Sarah's on her way. And here's Dr. Later. And Kristen's on, and Sarah's calling in via Zoom on her way, and Katrina should be here in a minute.
Okay.
But I wanted to say welcome to Dr. Later. How are you today?
Hi, all is good, thank you.
Great. Let's do a quick round of introductions and then we'll jump right in. I'm Emily Flynn. I'm the Director of Health and Wellness for the City of Kingston. Dr. Later, since I just called on you, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, cardiologist, director of the Heart and Vascular Institute here in Kingston. Happy to be part of this.
Thank you so much. All right, Kristen and then Eric.
Hi, Kristen Kessler. Oh, there we go. I am one of the project managers in the Department of Health and Wellness for the City of Kingston.
Captain Eric Mias, Corps Officer, the Salvation Army of Kingston.
Thank you, Eric, and I'll go to Troy Ellen, Vicky, and Lauren.
I'm Troy Ellen Dixon, Kingston Community Member, Chair of the Well Kingston Commission.
Lauren?
Okay, Vicky Gore, Vice President of Business Services for Gateway Hudson Valley, and I oversee the senior meal program for Ulster County.
That camera always distracts me.
And I'm Lori Ferguson, Commissioner of Well Kingston, and I'm a nutritionist, a nurse, and I volunteer at People's Place and cook.
Thank you so much. All right, yeah, so as you may have heard me say, I believe, and Sarah, you're driving. I'm gonna wait and have you introduce yourself when you're not driving, if you don't mind, because that's how I want you to be safe. Unless you want to.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Great. Katie, are you there? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm here. There I am. Hi, I'm Katie Sheehan Lopez. I am the chair of the Well Kingston Focus Team.
It's good to see you again, Katie. I miss you.
Hi.
I was Troy.
Yes, I can't really like see faces, but I definitely recognize your voice. And yes, we miss you too. Oh, there you are waving. You know what? I can't tell who's who. Sorry, but I hear your voice. It's nice to see you.
This is the nature of hybrid meetings, as Katie knows. All right, and so Katrina's on her way. But I'm gonna get us going. So I'm gonna share the screen, show my notes, our agenda for tonight. So we have I can't use Sarah as quorum yet. So we're gonna wait a moment to do the voting for the approval of minutes and the administrative matters. Commissioners, I'll be asking you to vote on the February and March minutes. So keep that in mind. So let's go to old business, because I think that will be a good amount of time before Katrina and Sarah are able to join us. This is a conversation about letters that we started last month. And I'm going to first give you an update. Let's talk about the equitable food access letter. So I have it. Oh my gosh, my Zoom says it just quit, but I still see you all there. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. This version, so there was a version of this letter that we brought to you in the last, we've been talking about this for actually 2 months now, I think, or 2 or 3 months. The previous letter, I got feedback that it felt very critical in an election year specifically. And there was also good feedback that we want to thank the council and the mayor for the good work they have done, including funding my department. So I took the liberty to make a second copy of this letter, and basically the first page of the letter is a list of the projects that are increasing food access in the city of Kingston and thanking them for it. And the second page, I think, is pretty much the same content that Kristen had created with the Place Core Youth. I did edit it a little bit, but it still talks about life expectancy. It still talks about the number of food retail stores in the city of Kingston, and it still has a lot of that data. It talks about transportation. So the letter has been reformatted so much that I felt that I needed to bring it back to you all. I can send you the link after the meeting if you'd like, or of course you can. So I guess my question for action is, would you like to review it more, or are you happy with what I may have written and you want me to send it as is?
I did not get a chance to read
Yeah,
it, so
great.
I would like to just read through it.
Great. So what I plan to do is send you all a link to this to review it one more time, and you can give us our feedback on that.
I'm also glad to see that it was addressed to all of the common council members. I think that's appropriate.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. And
Um,
I think you got some good feedback, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm sharing my screen. Anybody have any thoughts or questions about that? So the action there was, I'm gonna share it out to you all, the commissioners all again for feedback, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. The second thing
No,
was,
is that something we can vote on without having to meet together?
that's a great question. I have a process for that. We can try it out. Hey, Katrina. So this, and I feel like a letter might be a good way to do that, since it's not like we're voting on a budget or something. I feel like voting on a letter is a good way to test that process.
So that way we don't have to wait till the next.
Yeah,
Next
let's give it a shot.
Okay.
Great. Katrina, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
I know you just walked in. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Oh, sure. I'm Katrina Williams. I should use she, her, or they, them pronouns. I'm the Deputy Commissioner of the Ulster County Department of Mental Health.
I'm gonna change this camera view because it just keeps moving around so much that it didn't, it didn't capture you at all. So I'm gonna have it be fixed. Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
So we have a quorum now, which is fabulous. So I'm gonna bring us back to the top of our agenda. I'm gonna reshare my screen.
Oh, we don't have to wait for Sarah for the call.
We don't, because I have 4 of you in the room, and Eric has put the address of where he's calling in from on the agenda,
Oh, okay.
which I don't know if I've been able to explain that to everyone. I think I've given different pieces of the open meetings law information at different times, because frankly, it's confusing to me. But so let me try to explain it the way my Zoom tells me it's quit, but I still see everybody's still there. Okay. Oh. You might have just lost everybody.
No, I'm still here.
Okay, great, it's reconnecting. All right, sorry for that little technology hiccup. And I'm losing my train of thought, okay. Open meetings law says, I'm not gonna be able to get it all right, but this is a piece of information that I may not have been able to communicate well, and that is, commissioners, if you want to count toward quorum, you can put the address of the location that you're calling in from with the understanding that the public can join you at that location. I have never, ever heard of someone doing that, but that is the idea of the law. Yeah.
It's considered
Yeah.
a meeting location.
It's
Yeah.
right. And so I would only encourage someone who did that at a place of work.
Yeah.
I know Tori Ellen feels very strongly about this, that, doing your personal residence in today's age is not something I feel comfortable with. But so, I think Eric was successful at being able to do that tonight, so that's why he was able to count this quorum.
We did send a letter, but we never got a response.
Yeah, right.
And the letter that we sent was saying that given concerns, like I'm not gonna give my personal, I mean, if they wanna come to my home, they gotta work for the information, but anyway.
Right.
Given how things have worked successfully via Zoom, that people can access it via Zoom, the fact that this meeting is being held in a publicly accessible place, why is there the requirement for a commissioner simply to count towards quorum, having to give their personal address? There's no, I mean, anybody can go anywhere and access the meeting, so why would we have to do that? But we didn't hear anything back.
Is it a city thing? Because like for
No,
our
it's
board,
a
it's like
state.
state, right?
It's a state law.
It's the open meetings law, but we did write it to,
Gosh, it was like the state commissioners.
yeah, the state
Yeah.
commissioners.
Oh, okay, cool.
But
Maybe
we
the same
were
thing.
exempt during COVID because of the situation with COVID.
Right.
But then afterwards, it was brought to our attention.
I just think they don't wanna have to address the change in the open meetings law, but
so many other things have changed in other states, for example. I came from Connecticut, and they've changed things as a result of the fact that Zoom
We
was
have
a
this technology.
we have this technology, and it's, as long as the meeting's being held at Wilton Town Hall in Wilton, Connecticut.
It's a big deal with our county boards and commissions as well. I'm sure they get lots of letters. I hope they do something about it.
It would be nice. Anyway, that's why we have a quorum. Thank you very much, because Eric gave his address.
Yeah.
So we can get through the minutes, and Ellis can finally become a commissioner.
That's my hope for tonight.
All right.
So, commissioners, we have 2 meeting minutes, February and March. I have printouts here on the table if you'd like to review
I
them.
read them.
But I could hear a motion at this time to approve both of them, or I could receive any edits.
I move that we approve the minutes of February and March meeting.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Katrina. So all in favor, say aye. You can give a thumbs up on the screen, or you can say verbally.
Aye.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, great. I heard everybody. Thank you so much, that passed. Okay, so that comes us to our commissioner application. Dr. Lader has introduced himself to us before, and we've had some conversations. But we haven't had a quorum yet to officially recommend him. I could hear a motion at this time to recommend Dr. Lader to be a Well Kingston commissioner. The mayor would then appoint him at he gets to decide. He's never not taken one of our recommendations.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Lori. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Toriana. So I'll do it again. All in favor, say aye, give me a thumbs up.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, Dr. Lader, I'm gonna
Yes.
stop you on the screen. Welcome for.
Welcome.
Thank you all.
Welcome, Ellis.
It's only taken 4 months. I really appreciate your still coming to our meetings.
No problem. This is all so fascinating to me.
Great. And if you are able to list the address for where you're calling in, I can count you as quorum, and you can still join us by Zoom if that's more convenient for you.
Okay, I'm in 2 different, today I'm at the, at our office by the hospital. So it's 111 Mary's Avenue if you want to.
I don't need it for tonight.
Oh,
But
okay, okay.
for this month.
And the rest of the time, I'm usually in New Paltz, but I'll let you know.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Great. So that was the big work
I
and,
have
yeah.
a question.
yeah,
He has to be appointed. Ellis needs to be appointed by the mayor.
yes. No, thank you very much for that. Yes. So, but that usually happens for you.
No, I know that happens very quickly, but I'm just as a point of order that
He's
he's
actually
not officially a commissioner.
Right. So he can't count towards quorum tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Does it then have to go to the city council or?
No.
No, not unlike.
So we just have to go in and sign a book.
Yeah.
We signed the book.
Right, I think the
Seems like
county
a,
has to be,
Well,
or I forget what it is. This has to be notarized.
no, just sign the book.
It's a very official book.
I thought she had it notarized.
Well,
Okay.
okay, so if anyone needs to run for childcare or for any other reasons, feel free to go
I
ahead.
can hang out, but thank you. I will run out at some point. Wow, it's been a day.
Okay, so my questions to the commissioners, so we have a discussion about a zoning letter. It's Sarah, okay.
Hey.
We'll take a moment and let Sarah sit down and introduce herself when you are settled. So my question to you commissioners is, 2 things left on the agenda are a focus team by Eat Well and to talk about a zoning support letter. Any preference which one goes first? The zoning letter, we can let Kristen go first, home to her baby. Eat Well, we can let Katie go home to her 2 kids. Okay, maybe that's not fair. So, okay, I'm gonna pause. Sarah, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I think almost everybody does. I'm Sarah Brainerd, former chair of the Kingston Land Trust, current board member, Travel Well, what is it, subgroup chair, that's what we'll call that. And for work, I am director of self-pay in a hospital finance software company, which in the last couple of days I've been at a conference and we've been talking about everything that touches on everything that our group does. So I'm just like, got lots of things to bring back for our meeting. So that's who I am.
Thank Sarah. Okay, great. All right, so I'm gonna follow the agenda because that's not fair to have to choose between our two wonderful colleagues. So let's talk about the equitable, I'm sorry, not the equitable food access. I gotta try to move this bar, I can't see. The zoning letter, let me open it up. So. Kristen, would you like to present on this? Anything you'd like to say?
I think that we talked about this letter last time as well. I think, so if anybody was not there at the last meeting, Kingston is going through an update to its zoning code, the first update to the zoning code since the 1960s. So it's been quite a long time coming, and this is a really special opportunity to take a look at the zoning codes. If you're not familiar with zoning codes, if you were like, doesn't affect my life. That was me before. Zoning codes affect everything in your life. It tells us, what the buildings can be used for, what businesses can be put where in the city. I say that to lead into the idea that one, in our new zoning codes, which are form-based codes that allow for mixed-use buildings, which a lot of our areas in Kingston cannot be at the moment. If they're residential, they are strictly residential. That's the only type of buildings that can be there. They'll now allow, if it's adopted by the Common Council in its entirety, corner stores and residential neighborhoods. And so that was a really key point in talking about food access in Kingston. There is one full service grocery store in Kingston, and that's Uptown. There's other food retail locations, but they do not sell the same types of foods that a full service grocery store might sell, including, fresh, wholesome foods if people would like to purchase those to make meals for themselves and their families at home. And so this idea of the corner stores in residential neighborhoods could provide additional access to these types of foods. It doesn't guarantee that, healthier foods are going to be available in all neighborhoods, but it's the first step because we need them to be allowable first. Before we go around saying, okay, how do we get more healthy food in more areas in Kingston? We need a zoning code to support it by allowing it. So that's why we wrote, so sharing that in the letter. And then the second part of the letter was on parking standards. And so Emily shared a lot of really great information here on why reducing parking minimums for cars and including parking minimums for bicycles in non-residential buildings is really good for the health of our community members in Kingston. So that's like a quick overview if you were not around to chat about it last time. I feel like maybe Troy Ellen, I think, took a look at this and we made a few updates in it, but otherwise it's the same letter as last time. And this is relevant because they're looking at it now. It's gone through so many different stages. The public commenting period is actually over for the zoning code, but I've spoken with our director of housing, and he said that if the commission would like to submit any sort of letter to the Common Council, they are welcome to do so at any time. And he encouraged, the commission, if you had strong thoughts or values that you wanted to share and support, to do that, because they could remove different sections. They could say, we want to pass the zoning code, but we're going to remove the ability to include health or to include corner stores in residential neighborhoods. We're going to remove the idea that will reduce parking minimums. So that's why those two are called out in particular here.
The call to action tonight is to approve the letter, to send it. But at this time, any questions, clarifications?
I just wanted to make the point that corner stores are critical, and I was really glad that it was in there. And the fact of the matter is, even under the old code, we had corner stores. They don't exist anymore. The African Root Center is in the old Lou's Market in Pontaki. And then right on the other side of the Bruin, as you go up the hill, there was another corner store. So they've existed. And I think that they're important, because Pontaki, for example, is, it's a food desert.
I'm not a zoning code expert. My understanding of the way that this zoning code would work is that you wouldn't have to ask for an exemption. Is that the right language?
Correct.
So it would be easier to open up a corner food store.
than it is currently. I don't know enough to know if like zoning codes, I think that they have changed over the years, so I can't speak to why it was robust at one point and then died off.
Well, like those corner stores have probably been there since the 40s.
Yeah, right.
So
And I don't know
before
if
the
zoning
last
was
zoning
different
change.
then.
Grandfathered in, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, our director of housing shared, I shared this last time during the meeting. There's a whole list of these types of stores that used to exist in Kingston, and you'll see that most of them were started before the 60s. So, once again, like Emily, I'm not an expert on our zoning code or the history of it, but they were started before the 60s. And then just kind of like during the middle of the 20th century, as a lot of our infrastructure moved more towards being very car centric, they just started closing, being sold, being demolished, and things like that. That document is just like super interesting to read through that. Yeah, we're not creating something new really in Kingston. It's like going back to what we had before, potentially with this.
Does anyone have any questions about the parking minimums? I can try to explain that.
No, so I do, any change to that, would it affect like what is currently in existence?
Yeah, so my understanding is that currently if a development wants to come in for housing or even a larger retail establishment, but currently our zoning code, I don't know the numbers, but requires a certain number of parking spaces per expected use. That creates what I consider these large oceans of parking areas. If you reduce that minimum or give incentives, give them, for example, if they create a higher building, therefore they might need, they get a reduction in the requirements of parking. So you can use it as an incentive by reducing the requirements that they have to fill. That's a little confusing the way I said that. Let me go back to my first thought. The reason I don't want these big oceans of parking is that then you can infill those spaces that can be used for other buildings. I've heard the great analogy of like a smile. You don't want broken teeth, you don't want open spots, you want sort of a full streetscape. That's great for walking and biking. So the distance between 2 points becomes shorter because you're not having to cross parking lots. A great local example is I think of like Albany Ave. If you think about where Michael's Diner, La Florentina, to get to a location, you have to cross multiple parking lots. Broadway right here, all the buildings are right next to each other. Parking is often pushed to the back. That's much more conducive to walking and biking. Yeah.
When the parking is pushed to the back and you have less pedestrian or vehicular, including bicycle traffic passing, parking, I believe it's safer for the parking to be in the back.
I agree with that, absolutely.
But it doesn't affect existing
No,
buildings and
no.
parking.
Right, everyone that is built in the city right now gets to keep their parking.
This is all new construction.
New development. And again, it's allowing people to go through that process quicker. You can always ask for those exceptions, but the minimum parking allows developers to be required to have less parking easier. I believe that there's some conversations happening at the Common Council about this. There's community members that are pushing back on this. They want parking minimums. So I think that this letter will be timely.
There are also people who are pushing back against the, corner stores, for example.
Are there? I'm less tuned into that conversation, yeah. Then the other point that I make in this letter is that I would love to see bike parking minimums required, so that every development has X number of bike racks required. So it's almost flipping the requirements, less car requirements. And then for the first time ever, you have, like, for every building, I think there should be a bike rack. That encourages people. So sort of like drivers, if you come up to a space on a bike and you see a place to park your bike, you're more likely to bike. You know where to put your bike. They're not locked up on signs as much. It's creating a culture of walking and biking for sure. So I've added that in this letter.
I like it. I like that. I like that.
I'm happy to throw my support for that. I think it's great. Okay.
I mean, we could wordsmith it to death and add things and stuff, but I think the general sense is there, so.
Right. So you just take my signature in there, right?
Yeah, your signatures are usually there.
She did it without asking, I guess.
No, I
No,
sent
I was kidding, I
I
was kidding.
sent her my
It's
signature.
absolutely a process. And
I was kidding.
So any other clarifications or questions? Otherwise, well, since we're here, let's do a motion and you folks can feel free to vote against it or abstain. But I could hear a motion to vote on this letter at this time.
I make a motion to vote on the letter for, letter of support for the Kingston Forward rezoning from the commission.
Thank you, Sarah. Do I hear a second?
I said.
Thank you, Lauren. All in favor, say aye. All against, say nay.
No,
No.
you said aye.
But you vote for each thing, for sure.
Oh.
In favor, say, vote aye.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Say aye.
Aye.
And
Then
you
all
ask-
against?
Then you all answer, vote yes,
Yeah.
yep. And then ask if anybody's abstaining.
I'll abstain.
And your secretary's not gonna take, 'cause I forgot about that.
All yes.
They sprung a all team lunch on the meeting, I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, that brings us to our Eat Well focus team presentation. Katie, if you're there, we're ready for you. I'm not sure what else to say, except that this is one of our oldest focus teams. Eat Well's been around for a long time, and we are so happy to have Katie as our chair from Cornell Cooperative Extension. You can introduce yourself in any additional ways that you want, Katie. Take it away.
Okay. Yeah, I've been the chair of, this started as like the co-chair of Eat Well, probably in 2016, maybe. So it's been a while. Okay, so I'll just give a quick update. Emily let me know the last time I visited, which I have very clear memory of. It seems like not that long ago, but it was actually last April in City Hall, I remember. So in the last year, we're staying on our regular schedule. So we have bi-monthly meetings. So every 6 times a year, basically, are the meetings. And that's continued for a long time. And our meeting format is generally, we have an outside presenter come in and do a 15-minute presentation, time for Q&A, and then we have some time for networking and any other discussion topics that come up. So in the last year, we've had presentations from the Kingston Food Co-op, that was last April. We also all met in person at the Farm Hub, which I was actually not able to go to, but I heard it was wonderful. I think Kristen facilitated that one. We had a presentation by SnapEd Rescued Eats, Seasoned Evolution, Land to Learn. And then in February, we had Lenox Hill Teaching Kitchen, which is based in the city, but offers services up here. And just this month, we had the SnapEd fruit and vegetable prescription. So yeah, those are the presentations, and we've had pretty consistent attendance of anywhere from like 15 to 20 people. We have been having them on Zoom, but we are moving a little bit more towards in-person meetings this year. So that might dip, might go up. I think we're gonna see how it goes. But the plans we have for the rest of the meetings in 2023 are presentation from the Ellenville Rural Health Network. Next meeting in June, we're meeting at the YMCA Farm Project. And so it will be after school, and the teens will be involved in like showing us around and explaining what kind of work they're doing. We tentatively are going back to the Farm Hub to hear about their seed project. And then I also just confirmed today, this is not quite in Kingston, but the Hudson Valley Lab, which is in Highland and is part of Cornell Cooperative Extension, will host us, and we'll get a tour of the orchards and hear about what they're doing, which is pretty cool. I just went there for the first time last week, actually. So those are the things we've been doing and kind of what we have planned for the next 6 months or so. We also approved our action plan for 2023, which I don't have a link handy right now, but I'm happy to share that around. And as part of that, we're moving towards more of like it's keeping the same format, but bringing in a little bit more policy advocacy where we can, education, kind of sharing information about different action items, and maybe move towards some collective action. So that is what we've been doing. So trying to stay the course and not mess with a successful formula, but also trying to like maybe expand a little bit of visits outside of Kingston and doing a little bit more in person this year, and also focusing on policy a bit more. So I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. That's kind of all I have to share at this time.
Yeah. Any questions, clarifications? I can mention that within the Eat Well Focus Team bucket in my world, I sort of fit the Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative. That work to me sort of fits in that world. And the KFC has been very actionable. So in some ways, Eat Well, is a little more networking. It's a little bit more multi-organizations coming together, sort of hearing about programs, whereas KFC has been very much direct service. We've at different times tried to do some systems change in that group to different levels of success. But in some ways, in some ways, I think for Live Well balance out the sort of two different reasons that groups might meet. Networking, presentations, and then real action.
And the Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative actually, because now we're fiscally sponsored, so we have a grant, we have people working. We have two really good coordinators. One is community direct service and community and outreach. The other is admin and operations, but they pretty much tag team, Devin and Victoria. We are also looking to establish our own, not food pantry, but our own resources for groceries. For example, so we are looking for space because we do not have a physical, brick and mortar presence. But we're looking for a space, hopefully that we could use that would be donated. We're having conversations with various community organizations. We would buy the cooler, the freezer, the shelving, etc. But we could have space. And the requirement of this is, I don't mean to step all over you, Katie, but right. The requirements of this is that the space is not only big enough to put appliances in and storage, but where we could do packing on a weekly basis and where our volunteers can come and pick up for delivery. We've been running a volunteer delivery operation since March 18th, 2020.
Which has included both meal delivery and groceries.
Delivery.
Currently, right now, we're doing mostly meal delivery.
We're doing mostly meal because the partnerships that we had with two food partners have ended, primarily due to changes in how the food bank is, it turns out that if you're a food bank partner, you cannot use your funds to support another organization. So we're looking at different things and, but we'll figure it out. It's a curveball, but we've been thrown them before. And fortunately, since we're not scheduling 55 shifts on a daily basis like we were in 2020, we have a little bit more time to work on that. Katie was a member of KEFC until she got her new position.
Yeah, it's actually been almost exactly 3 years. And it might make sense for some KEFC staff or members to come and present at an Eat Well Kingston meeting. It's kind of, I have things scheduled for the next, 2023's worth of meetings, but we can always double up, like that's an option. Or if something doesn't work out, because it's a good place to share what we're doing. And, Emily can talk about it, but it's good to have a new person. And also if there's any needs, sometimes sharing it out with the group could help get some results. Like if you need space or, shelf or whatever, sometimes that's helpful.
Thank you for that, Katie. Absolutely. I think we have had conversations with the coordinators, but they're so like up to their neck, eyeballs practically with so much stuff that's trying to get done. But maybe one of the other volunteers could participate.
Yeah, I can email. Would you be the best person? Maybe you, me, and Emily can email offline and figure something out.
Thank you.
Unless there's any other questions, Kristen, can I put you on the spot? Do you want to talk about the ARPA emergency food plan? It's not exactly coming out of Eat Well, but it's absolutely in our food access bucket.
I'm gonna run by everybody.
Thank you, Katrina.
Sorry, I'm late and leave early.
No worries at all.
Nice to see
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I can absolutely touch on that. So the City of Kingston received some money through the ARPA program, the American Rescue Plan Act. I should know what all of the letters stand for, but it is our ARPA funding, and there was some money allocated to creating a plan that would help you. I'm thinking of the exact language in there because I keep going back to what's in the plan, to strengthen our food system to address food insecurity. And so we've had some internal, so Emily and I, in our department, have had some internal conversations on what does this look like? Where do we want to take this? How would it be most effective and impactful considering all of the other food systems work that is going on right now? The plan will be something that's specifically targeted for the City of Kingston, since it's a part of the City of Kingston's ARPA plan, but we could not create this plan without acknowledging the fact that our food system in the City of Kingston operates within the larger regional food system. Just because we're roughly 8 square miles, there's not a hard and fast line at the city's borders to say this is our food system, this is everybody else's food system. And so I've had some conversations with folks from the Hudson Valley Food Systems Coalition, Hudson Valley Agribusiness Corporation. And what all of this came down to was that, we wanted to create a plan that was maybe a little more proactive in identifying the opportunities in our food system, as well as identifying the strengths of our food system and how we can support those and amplify those. I should mention that that Ulster County is also using some of their ARPA funding to create a food systems plan that is a little bit more reactive. So it's a little bit more this idea of an emergency plan. Should something happen, they'll have a plan in place to react to that situation. I say this, Emily and I are involved in those conversations to be looped in on what is happening there. They're planning for it for, I think, the next 2 years or something. So their direction could change. I'm not in charge of that. Don't quote me on exactly what their plan is going on. But the idea was that, they're already creating something that was a little reactive, that really reinforced the idea, let's take a look at our food system as it is and think in the future, think forward with it. So that's a long way of just setting it up, that working on the RFP for that right now, and hope to release the RFP in mid-May for a consultant. That's an ambitious timeline for myself, but to have a consultant come in and take a look at our food system, do community engagement, and make some recommendations for the City of Kingston, specifically make some recommendations on what our role is as a municipality versus the role of our county government and the role of our CBOs, the role of businesses in the food system, the role of the individuals, because that's really important. We can make recommendations to Ulster County on things, but at the end of the day, we really want some actionable items that the city can do to help strengthen our food system and address food insecurity.
And if I can jump in there, I think you've all heard me talk about the pedestrian and bicycle master plan. And for me, that will help inform future projects that I'll do for Travel Well. I sort of see this emergency, I'm calling it emergency food, but it's a food plan. it may help inform some of the actionable work that we might do in the food category of work. And so I'm excited to get sort of a document that says, do this. Because sometimes, as we talk about for KFC, the food system is so incredibly complex that sometimes it's really hard to know what direction to go in to improve it.
So is there, if I could ask, is there like identified, and I mean, I think more Ulster County, because we have the senior meal program, which touches all of Ulster County. But I know this group is focused in Kingston, the city of Kingston. Is there identified neighborhoods or people groups or schools within the city of Kingston specifically that are suffering from food insecurity? I mean, do we know that there are targeted areas or populations?
Yeah, one of the ways that we know is that 6 of the 10 schools in the city of Kingston the community, what is it called?
In the district, I think it's might be,
In the district.
it's absolutely JFK,
It's 6 schools.
middle school, Bailey, and high school. That's 6.
Right.
So I think it's the schools that are in.
6 of them qualify for whatever the CEP program is. It's a federal program where every student in the school, without any kind of qualification, can get free breakfast and lunch. And this is specifically targeted to schools in what they call high poverty neighborhoods.
So is that occurring? Do we know that that's occurring, that people are receiving, the kids that are receiving?
If they want to, they don't have to take it, but yes, it is absolutely.
There are eligible areas already designated.
Yes, but
The schools are
Such
providing-
But to the point,
JFK.
your question where you said, do we know that there are neighborhoods?
Yeah,
Yes, those neighborhoods in which those 6 schools have been identified as high poverty neighborhoods.
And we have other sources of data too. Chris, and I'm sure you can tip of your tongue, but I can say it if you want.
Yeah, I mean, there's data out there that's based upon the census tract that can share, there is SNAP Ed enrollment based upon the census tract. There's income data. We can also look at food access data in terms of areas in Kingston that are low income, low access. This is where we kind of had a little conversation last time about the terms food desert versus food apartheid. The USDA uses the term food desert, but I'll just say low income, low access. That's based upon census tract data, so we can narrow it down from the county. There's a number of other resources that we can use, and if there are other ones, Emily, feel free to share, but this is also a part of the ask, I think, of the consultant as well, is to come in and take a look at our food system and help to map it out and define it for us, looking at it through a lens of addressing food insecurity. And so that will be a little bit of what they are going to be tasked with as well. And, and I want to say too, just also to talk about this, there's so much work that's already being done in Kingston as well when it comes to the food system that I haven't quite figured out what the language is going to be, but want to be very cognizant and sensitive to the fact that we're not creating anything brand new with this plan, that it's basically taking a lot of the knowledge that we do already have and taking a look at that data and then just putting it into one place so that we can use that, as Emily mentioned, as like to get started on projects, also can use it for funding. Funders can't read our brains when we all have that knowledge and we know what's going on. So that will be something that'll be really helpful too. But if there's any other resources, Emily, that I missed, definitely please share.
I also want to say that it's not just about low income or high poverty, however you want to talk about it. But part of what should be considered is people in Alice households. They started this, I think, a decade ago, United Way. It's asset limited, income constrained, employed. Those households do not qualify for a lot of the safety net benefits. So they are particularly squeezed because they don't have enough to keep the lights on, pay the rent, buy food. So they're constantly juggling. Stealing from Peter to pay Paul. Exactly. but they are definitely one of the ones that are struggling, particularly when it comes to food insecurity, because oftentimes that's what they scrimp on. They scrimp on food. They'll feed their children and they're eating a bologna sandwich because they have to keep a roof over their head and keep the lights on and everything else. So they scrimp on food.
And healthcare.
Yes, well, that's true.
I just spent, yes, the last couple of days talking about topics for healthcare finance management with the association that I'm involved in, out to leadership training. And everyone kind of was leaning into like equity of healthcare, which is just this, you know, it's married to the equity of everything else just to survive. So it's, yeah.
So coming back to a bit of a report on Eat Well, the focus team. So we've included some of our other projects there, so you know that. At Eat Well, we, as Katie mentioned, we hear presentations from all the different organizations, you know, in our community about food access. So we really sort of feel that Eat Well is the bucket where we are connecting with our other agencies. We're so lucky to have Vicky and Eric now on the commission, so now we're closer to your organizations that also provide food access. And there's many others that we have relationships with or would like to grow those relationships with. So any last questions about?
Thank you for that, Kristen.
Yeah.
And thank you, Katie.
Katie looks like she jumped off. I thought she might. She's got two littles. Any other thoughts about that? Questions? All right, then we are getting close. I'm gonna just introduce Katie's in the waiting room. Oh, Katie, I'm so sorry. Let's see, I'm not sure if Katie was able to join us back again, but she looks like maybe I didn't see that she was there. Oh, I saw a wave. Let me see what happened. Dr. Later, were you waving to say goodbye or something?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. All right, so I just had one last thing. Katie, thank you so much. I didn't see that you were in the waiting room. Feel free to hop off if you'd like. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you.
I don't know if she can hear us. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I want to introduce a topic to bring up for next time. And that is sort of some community agreements. So how do I want to frame, how am I sort of center this? I'll center it this way. Kristen and I and Marcia, we facilitate a lot of meetings. And we have found that sometimes using some agreements really help set the tone for meetings. I am not bringing this up. Let me say it positively. I have found that our space has always been, for me, very comfortable, but I also always want to work to make sure that it's welcoming and open to anyone who comes into this room. And so this is also an attempt to continue to keep working on making it a happier space. But I want to make sure that you all, I'm not bringing this up because I think that anyone is acting inappropriately. It's just a reminder to us all about how we want to present ourselves in the space. This is a set of agreements that I have brought to this, to the Well Kingston Commission before and has been approved, but I haven't done it with sort of this class of commissioners, so I wanted to bring it up again. I will send you all a link to it so that if you'd like to, you can read through it more for a little bit deeper. We use versions of this in our Grow Well focus team. Do we do it in KFC? We have at different times in KFC.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We have
community agreements. I've used them in some other spaces.
I thought you brought this up before.
Yeah. So I won't go through each one. Well, I don't know, does anyone at this time have any questions about it? I can go into any of them.
I feel like a lot of spaces are using them now.
Yeah, they're not as usual.
Yeah, it's not something that's unfamiliar to at least to me, in all the spaces I'm in, it's been brought up the last couple of years, so. I think it's all pretty consistent.
I think we can read it on our own.
Yeah.
How about so the one that I think is really lovely in these spaces is to think of take space, make space. I'll just bring up that one. So this is this idea that some of us talk a lot, some of us don't talk a lot. If you are a talker, think about taking a step back. If you are not a talker, think about the ways that you might, please offer your thoughts. We want to hear them. So I'd like this reminder for us all, because, and honestly, it depends on the day. Some days I'm a talker and sometimes I'm not. And so we want this space to be accepting of that. The days you feel like talking, please jump in. The days you don't, that's fine too. All right, I feel like unless there's any other questions.
I don't know, I just see the Elmo one, I've never seen it referenced that way.
Yeah.
I like that one, the wallet in my office. Enough, let's move on.
Yeah, I like
Yeah, I
that.
think we could have used some of these rules at some of our board meetings.
Yeah.
This looks like a great, a great document.
Right, yeah. And
Do you guys need me here? There was a 5 o'clock meeting, so I was supposed to show up, somebody asked if I was needed.
5 o'clock, that's not us. We started at 4:15.
Is there a 5 o'clock meeting going on somewhere?
I can look that up in a moment if you'd like.
I can wait.
All right, so if that, any questions on that, I think that we can sort of end our meeting unless anyone has anything else to bring up tonight.
I have an announcement.
Oh, yeah, announcements and communications. Perfect. Who wants to go first? And do.
Do we need to go into executive session?
No.
Oh, we already
We
did
don't.
that, okay, we don't, okay, okay.
Okay.
Just that the Kingston Land Trust, has our first outside We're Together event, next Saturday, the 29th, from 11 to 2. It's a spring celebration at the Forest Sanctuary. I think there's gonna be a lot of fun things going on there. We're gonna bring, the folks from Rondout Gardens over, and just anybody can come. We might do a little walk on the trail, meet and greet, talk to the bee habitat folks there up at the school, so that is next week on the 29th. There is a Facebook event for it. And next month, second Sunday of the month, I will be kicking off the Green Line Weekend Wonders. Finally, I don't have trouble.
Keep going,
So that's all I got. So second Sunday.
6:30.
If you wanna join, if you wanna be a host, we're trying to theme it, we're gonna do a bird walk one time, we're gonna move it around. We're gonna do it at the Hunting Brickyards one month, we'll move it Midtown. Wanna come and talk about anything, you certainly can. That's what I got.
Okay, the only thing I'm gonna reiterate was that if anybody has any ideas about spaces that might be able to accommodate on a donated basis, freezer, cooler, refrigerator, and shelving for dry goods. We're looking for cold and dry storage.
sorry, I distracted.
We are reaching out to, it's quite right. We are reaching out to community action. We've had initial conversations with Clinton Avenue Methodist Church. We're gonna be reaching out to Boys and Girls Club, St. James, St. John's are places that we're reaching out to. But we obviously haven't thought about every place. So if anybody knows, we would, and the requirement is obviously that we would be able to not only store, but we would have packing space to pack grocery deliveries, and that there's access,
Yep.
so that our volunteer drivers would be able to be pull up.
Yeah.
And it could be for a temporary amount of time.
It could be for a temporary amount of time. We're fine with being nomadic, is because, we make up stuff all the time in the KEFC to get things done. So if anybody knows anything, just send me an email and I would appreciate it. The other thing is, it wasn't on the agenda, but I would like us to consider the next meeting that we have a conversation around community fridge for the Rondout. There was a community fridge on Broadway at Ask, Art Society of Kingston. It's been moved. It was moved to actually Blackbird Info
I
Shop,
saw that the other day.
which I happen to live above.
Oh, you do? Oh, yum.
Yeah, it's great. And I have my own entrance. I just kind of skid in the
I'm
door.
coming to have lunch too.
I come inside, from the inside, and I skid in the door like Kramer and,
Give me my
and
coffee.
Seinfeld. But in any event, And the reason why this is particularly important is we're very glad. Andrew took it, he asked me, I was like, fine, put the fridge there. But there's no transportation. It's a schlep from everywhere.
An island out there, yeah.
So basically it is a fridge, but it's not as accessible as one would be in the Rondout, for example. And we would want to be able to explore getting one in the Rondout. There was a young person who walked from Broadway all the way down there.
It's not very safe.
Well, not on the roads, because we don't have sidewalks. I mean, it would be a mitzvah if we got sidewalks in the Wilbur, but that's not happening. Anyway, refrigerator, I would like us to consider making a recommendation that the city, because there's Rondout Gardens, for example.
Right.
And there's the Rondout Neighborhood Center, but they're both city. But the city could perhaps seriously consider allowing a community fridge there. And they don't have to maintain it. There's a committee.
I referred Pat to Lindsay, the director of Parks and Rec, who would be,
Right.
if not the decision maker, would definitely be part of that conversation at the Rondout Community Center.
But I'm saying as a commission, if we could, the same way we write letters of support, we could write a letter of support saying that this is about it, people do use it, it's maintained by a committee. The good news is this person, somebody else was at Blackbird when this person came and he was like, you don't know where I can get some apples, and it just so happens that the person who was at Blackbird was bringing apples.
Wow.
So they gave them a whole bunch of apples and then they gave them a ride back to, so they wouldn't have to walk. So they got apples and other food from the fridge and the pantry and stuff, so at least it had a good, but it's gotta be more centrally located.
And where was it a church before? I can't remember. where
It was at Ask.
It was at Ask.
It was the downtown one. Clinton Avenue Methodist has the blue fridge. Greg McCullough has
Yeah.
his fridge.
And did we check with any of the churches yet? We don't know yet.
Well,
There's a Spanish church.
There's the new progressive, I was
on
thinking that
Murray
was.
Street.
New Pro, but that's even not that centrally located.
Okay.
All the way down.
Yeah, what was the one that's up the hill, next to Hillside, that,
But if we put it in like Rondout Gardens.
yeah.
Yeah, that's actually.
Or the neighborhood
Right.
center.
They have
on
community-
Broadway.
But Gardens doesn't have electricity.
Well, we'd figure it out.
Yeah. We can,
The city would
Yeah.
figure it out, not we. I'm saying,
since we're on the topic, if you want, so refrigerators are pretty complicated. There is a law still in the books that says you can't leave a refrigerator outside on a streetscape. That was when kids were like locking themselves in the refrigerator.
Mhm.
Refrigerators don't have those latches anymore, but it's
Yeah.
still on the books. Also, the Freon in the refrigerators can't be left out in winter. Can't freeze and break, so they have to be insulated.
Sure.
So the community fridges that are around have found those ways to work around those things. But there is some complications it just has to be done right. You have to cross all your Ts and dot your Is.
oh, I'm not saying not following the rules, I just don't want to blanket, no, we can't.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right, so I want to make sure we have enough time for communications. Do you want to you started by saying you want to put this on the agenda for next month? Do you want, we'll do that?
Mhm.
Let's keep going around the table for announcements or communications. Vicky, got anything? Any open positions, any events?
Well, I still have a site host position open with our senior meal program. I think that's about it though.
Thank you.
We'll be having another Soul Food Wednesday on the 26th from 5 p.m. to 6:30. Eat in or pick up the food, and it's free, and they accept donations, of course.
And that's at People's Place,
People's Place on Broadway,
right at the roundabout.
right?
Yeah, or St. James.
It's not, well, it's not on St. James, it's literally on Broadway, I forgot the address, but
It's
it's
right at the top.
right next to Domino's Pizza.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to everyone on the screen. I'll do you in the order that I see you. Dr. Later, any job openings, events, program announcements you'd like to make?
No, nothing exciting going on now. Everything pretty much status quo, but thank you for asking.
Absolutely. Kristen, anything you'd like to chime in, or do you want to show us your adorable baby one more time?
I'm so sorry, Troylan. He was very interested in what you had to say. He wanted to participate.
I thought everyone was waving at me.
I love the ears. My son still has the ears.
I know. These ears are, I think, were the same size as when he was born. He had some big ears. I did want to share, we have, let's see, upcoming is Earth Fair on Saturday, May 13th. And so this is the second year I have partnered and been a part of the planning committee, and we will have, it's going to be in TR Gallo Park or just all of the Rondout down there from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'll have live music. There's going to be some food vendors there. That's really exciting. I coordinate those. And we'll also have Sun River Health will be out there with their mobile clinic offering free health screenings. So they're going to focus on, I think, blood sugar and blood pressure screenings. And then for anyone who has questions on it, we'll have some SNAP-fed nutritionists from Cornell Cooperative Extension. We'll also have their fruit and vegetable prescription program. So at the health clinic, they'll be doing food insecurity screenings, and anyone who screens as food insecure, it's just 2 questions. They'll be eligible to sign up for the fruit and vegetable prescription program. People's Place, I think their SNAP enroller is going to be out talking about how you can enroll for SNAP benefits. So that will be really great. So that's kind of like a part of Eat Well. We were kind of saying we'll have a bike valet that's a little representative of, he's gotten really excited about this, a representative of Travel Well. Marsha is going to be doing a chess activity for Play Well. So it's going to be kind of like a multi-focus team event at Earth Fair. Also Heal Well, in addition to the Sun River Health mobile, the screenings, we'll also be hosting a walk. That will be 30 minutes. It's walk and talk with the doc. And so medical residents from Sun River Health's New Vans residency will be hosting this walk to help kind of reduce maybe a little bit of that, the barrier between our healthcare professionals and community residents. And it'll just be an opportunity to be active, to showcase the Kingston Green Line and all those activities. So we've got that coming up. And one last thing, we've got the green spaces at Broadway and Prince. Those landscape designs are semi-final, mostly final. Oh, are they on the table? Yeah. Amazing. The comment period for that is through May 2nd. So definitely take a look at that if you have any questions on it. The presentation is also online at Engage Kingston. So you can see how Con really did a lot of community engagement by working with the fellows from Play Score and the youth from the YMCA Farm Project to create these designs. So you can email me directly or fill out the Google form, any comments or suggestions or so forth through May 2nd.
That was a lot while we had a child. Woohoo!
Yeah. While I have this child trying to eat this washcloth, I don't know, he's a monster.
And I'll just mention at Earth Fair, that was just our department's things. There's a lot more stuff happening at Earth Fair. There's live music with the clear water and lots of other programming and things.
Did the Kingston Trust commit to tabling or no? Or did you ask?
I don't
What do you need?
Did who?
Kingston Land Trust?
I don't know if we have a Kingston Land Trust table. If you're interested, send me an email or I can email you the vendor application. We're asking folks to register by this Friday, actually. So I can send that out. Yeah, there's a lot of other things going on that are actually about like sustainability and like earth stuff. I just mentioned all of the Live Well Kingston activities.
All right, Eric, you've been waiting. I'm sure you've got some updates for us.
Well, Kristen, can I go ahead with my announcement that I want to make? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Just making sure. I didn't want to make sure the no T's or I's that were missed. But partnering with the city of Kingston, the Salvation Army is now in phase 2 with the feeding of schools and pantries program. And we are in the process of today being approved to get a new reach-in refrigerator and freezer for our pantry. And that will be paid for from those funds. And we're so grateful to Kristen for all her help in working on that with us, which means we will be able to have more fresh produce and non-canned items for our pantry program that runs Monday through Thursday. So we're really excited about that. And we already get great donations from Hannaford's 3 days a week. But now that we'll be able to go to our pantry clients as well as our soup kitchen clients. So we're very excited about that and to be able to offer fresh food to the folks here in Kingston.
Thank you so much, Eric. I'm so excited to hear the official announcement. All right, I was just pausing to look around. Any last thoughts? We'll say thank you again to Katie for joining us for the Eat Well Focus Team report, and we'll say thank you so much for everyone coming, and we'll meet again next month.
And we don't have a quorum, so we can't officially adjourn.
Oh, too bad. We can't officially do it.
No, I'm serious, we can leave, but we will still be in session. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's a good thing we're not that, or we're just an advisory committee, so it's all good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for-
Bye-bye.